Hi everyone. So right now I'm at home using the iPad Air. And what I want to do is I want to talk to you about best practices in terms of making your video look a little bit better than it is right now. uh, some of you are like laughing and be like, wait a minute, we're going to talk about best practices and he's almost like out of frame. And yes, that's the whole point that what we can do is we can improve on this look or improve it enough that I think will be less distracting, less distracting than that bag that's back there or somebody coming in unannounced. So, but before we do that, let me talk to you a little bit about my setup here. I have an iPad Air that has the cage over it that it's attached to the small tripod. All these items are available in the ATS mobile teaching kit that is found that you can check out at AS120. Okay, so let's talk about framing. What we can do is we can move, not me, the tripod, and then put it in center. That's not too bad. That bag is still kind of like a little bit distracting. So what we can do is we can frame myself in thirds. We can frame myself on the other side here. That's not too bad. Some people might say, well, I don't like to share, my personal items in the background. That's true. So what you can do is you can go in another room or you can go outside. Actually, going outside right now is probably better for the lighting. So let's talk about that. Right now, my iMac is shining some light on me, and that's basically the primary light right now. It's about 5 o'clock. It's in the winter. The sun is gone almost. I'm in front of a window, but I'm not getting that nice light that I was about 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago, the lighting was really nice, and I didn't need any other light source. But for right now, it's getting a little bit darker. And what's happening is if you look at the shadows, like my hair or that picture over there, it starts to like shimmer. It's because the cameras like these that have small sensors, the noise level goes up in the shadows. So you need an additional light source. So I have some light over here, these lamps that you can get for like $10. Um, and they give you some light that bounces off the table here. And here's another light. And yeah, you might find some glare, you know. So you have to adjust. It's a certain look and feel. Maybe you don't want that one. Maybe you feel like, okay, that's a little bit better. That's up to you. Um, that's important. So one thing you don't want is the light shining on you. Because that doesn't look very flattering, right? It's too harsh. So that's something, framing, the lighting. And I think the most important part is to speak to my audience, right? My eye contact to the lens. Some of you were like, wait a minute, when is he ever going to talk to us? And yes, I am talking to you right now. That's really important, isn't it? That my eyes are on the lens so that I'm speaking to my audience. Sure, if you're talking and you're moving your hands, right? And you're in deep thought, and doing this. Oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? I'm touching the table, which I'm moving and rattling the these lights. This might be annoying. So keep in mind, yeah, you can be deep in thought, but then when you want to focus on your audience, make sure you're talking to your audience. And one other thing too that I'm looking right now, this space right here, I'm not liking it too much. Maybe I can adjust it a little bit, right? There we go. Maybe. Maybe too much. That's another thing too, that looks a little bit more crooked. And that could be here forever, adjusting. One thing though is if you smudge the lens, you're not going to look that great. That's one thing that I would recommend is if you're going to film yourself with the back camera and the front camera, make sure you clean the lens. Don't use, rough. Don't use paper. Use you can use polyester, most likely cotton, something to clean it so that the lens won't be as dirty. So, the framing. So I like the framing to be like more over here. Okay. So the framing looks okay now. Now the audio. The audio, well, I think the audio sounds fine for what it is. I mean, it's a small microphone, but in the room that I'm in, I think it's acceptable. And you can adjust that in post, meaning you can take this video and then do an adjustment in the audio if you are familiar in doing that. Or you can get an external recording device like your phone. You can put your phone very close to you, and the audio is much closer, or your mouth is much closer to this microphone here. Or you can have an external mic. So right now, I'm going to change the audio right now. And now you're hearing me through an external mic, which sounds differently. Well, that's made for a situation like this. But that takes a lot more work. So they say that audio is sometimes more than 50% of your video. Because if you have distracting sounds like your phone ringing or your desktop, making, pings and such, it can be distracting. But it's up to you how you want to proceed with that. Next thing, of course, is content. Then did you see that? I was looking over here, but I have to be looking over there, and that is you just have to get accustomed to it. But content is important. You should have an outline in front of you, just to give you a sense of what you need to do first, and to introduce yourself, and then introduce the concept and so forth. Other things too to keep in mind is if you do have paper in front of you, you start doing this and start touching other things here and there, making noises, right? It's gonna come out. So make sure you don't rustle things all over the place, and you'll be fine. And lastly, I think is the length of the video. This video is almost 8 minutes long, which is a little bit too long, but it's acceptable. Your videos, if they are 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes long, and you're not entertaining, your students will, they will be not focused on you and your content. So keep in mind that the length of the video should be short. Cut the concepts into small pieces. But then again, sometimes when you have an interesting topic, an interesting subject, it takes more than 10 minutes to describe, and that's natural. All right, so I hope that was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.